So it's like, okay, yeah, you're all busy doing other things, but also like
I know the jam.
like,
I wish, the jam element is, or just like being with people to play music with.
yeah, we did this is probably, I don't know what we're gonna talk about, but we did a live from home thing.
Okay.
Where we did like a set all like from our houses, like, and like kind of put it all together to play a set. But even that, like, I didn't really see them. We weren't in the same place. It was just like, so when they had, so two of the members are in Fable Cry, and so Fable Cry is doing their thing, and Emma is in two other bands, and both of those other bands are doing like live stream shows and playing different stuff. And it's just like, man, I wish I could see y'all or play it or do something. But
right,
it's the 5 Spot, someone from the 5 Spot reached out to do like a live stream, and nobody felt comfortable like getting together because we weren't part of each other's
inner
like
circle
bubble. Yeah, so it's just like, oh wow, I guess we really aren't in each other's circles. It's really humbling just to think, man, I guess we're not really that close. We just we do this music thing, and it's fun to So I've been mentally and emotionally dealing with that over the past few months. Just realizing, like, wow,
connection with people is
it's
severed, or just like it's so distant.
Yeah, just the ability to just safely go see someone or happen to run into somebody.
It's like the grocery store.
It's like really important. Yeah, it's so important. So we met at Spewfest. Were we introduced, or did someone come up? Was it before the set or after?
I'll get into that in a little
Okay. Pardon me.
I wanted to go ahead
Do your thing.
Say, hey everyone, welcome to the Nashville Artist Podcast. I'm Jordan, and today Quiet Entertainer is here as the guest, Greg.
Yes.
Awesome.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah.
Fun times.
It's been great I'm looking forward to talking about the Spewfest.
Okay.
Yeah, but I wanted to get some background information on you, because I don't really know, and we would all like to know about you. So, where are you from?
I am from the great metropolis, the booming epicenter of Millington, Tennessee, which is it's a little town suburb outside of Memphis, Tennessee. So
okay.
I claim both. So Millington for the small town, but really it's Memphis. It's kind of like Goodlettsville is to Nashville, as Millington is to Memphis.
Right.
That's where I'm from.
Yeah. Wow. Okay. When you said epicenter, I was like, New York.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. Just the great metropolis.
I was like, where is this? Yeah. Huge. I'm like waiting for it.
Just Gotham City.
Yeah.
Tennessee is Millington. No,
nice.
It's just a little town. Memphis, though, is basically.
Okay, cool. And do you have any siblings or?
Oh yeah, well, it's just I'll give you all the personal scoop. So
yeah.
All of my family is from Memphis. My sister is there. My parents are there. All my cousins are there.
Okay, cool.
But I only have my older sister.
Oh, okay, cool. Awesome. Yeah. Coming from Memphis, I'm sure you got a lot of blues and whatnot inspired, just being so close to that city.
Yeah, I mean, you know what? As a kid, my dad had a lot of records lying around. It wasn't always necessarily blues but there was, blues and soul music is what my dad liked, and it's what my mom liked, stuff like that too. But I wouldn't say I came up as a blues guy.
Sure, yeah. I didn't mean to pigeonhole you there with that.
Well, no, I know what you mean though. It's just being around Memphis, I think, really just made me connect to music more overall than if I had come from somewhere else. But not necessarily blues. I've seen a lot of blues, and I know good blues when I hear it because I think, because I'm from Memphis. But I didn't get out, I didn't go out regularly to see music until I moved to Nashville.
Oh, really?
Just because the number, I try to tell people about Nashville, and what makes it so really interesting is you can go see live music anywhere and everywhere, and it's probably going to be good because there's so many places to play, and there's so many really great musicians that are looking for places to play. Whereas in Memphis, there are places to play, but it's fewer places to play, and there's fewer really great musicians trying to play somewhere. And so all the really great bands you're going to see are going to play in just a couple of spots. Whereas in Nashville, you might see the best show of your life on accident at some spot somewhere. It's like, whoa, what just happened? What did I accidentally come across? And that has happened to me here a lot. But yeah, I didn't get into music like that until I moved here. I was just a music listener. I used to listen to the radio. So I'd say K97 was like the big station for me growing up in Memphis, which was just the 90s. I mean, at the time I was growing up, it was just current, so it wasn't even like 90s, but it was just like R&B, hip hop, and stuff like that. And I grew up really getting into that, and really whatever my sister was older, so she had more control over the radio till I got my own radio. Just kind of, I picked up a lot of her R&B, and I think I liked MC Hammer and stuff like that until sometime later. I was really into, and this has nothing to do with Memphis.
No,
that was the last thing you asked me.
Yeah.
I think just the stuff that K97 was playing, I thought I was going to be a radio DJ.
Nice.
And that's where I spent a lot of my time, like kind of focusing on. Because I thought in order to be I just thought a DJ was a really cool job. Like, you just play music all day and get to talk about it and take calls, and they request a song and you can play it or not. I don't know. I just thought it was really cool. But I wanted to be an actor when I was really young. But DJ was just like my second choice. I remember hearing one day, I was just listening to the radio, and I heard it was like a DJ, it was like a mix show, like a dance party mix show. And I was like, okay. And they mixed a song, they mixed the song from one to the next, and they had blended it perfectly to where you couldn't tell where one song ended and the other one began. And I was like, how did they do that? Like, it was like a magic trick. And I used to call in, just like it's like, I need someone to tell me, like, how do you do this? Like, where can I learn how to do this with songs or whatever? Someone finally picked up, just like the random, like, nighttime guy. I would call like all day. I'd like, let's leave it ringing all day, just trying it. And someone picked up and said, yeah, I'll come over here. And I started DJing little like middle school dances, like Sadie Hawkins dance and stuff like that. Like working for this guy in like a mobile DJ thing. Anyway, I like telling that story because of just that's how it started for me in Memphis. I was like listening to the radio a lot, and then just I got the itch to like really like start performing. I guess it wasn't really performing, but something beyond like radio was just hearing a song mixed together well. Like, how do you do it? And getting to play little homecomings and little proms and stuff like that. Anyway.
Wow. So was this like when you were in high school and you were playing like weddings and proms?
Yeah, I got to do that.
Nice.
In high school, and just all throughout the Memphis area. It's because the DJ company that this other guy worked for was in Mason, Tennessee, and they just booked all throughout like the Memphis area and West Tennessee, but I didn't have to ever go to like other non-Memphis spots. So thankfully, it's a long drive. Well, I don't know. I've never been to Mason, but I always picture it. I need to look at a map. I always picture it as like Jackson, Tennessee area, or something like an hour away from Memphis. Before I really, like, Memphis was my whole world at the time, so it was just like, I don't know what's outside of Memphis. It's just never left here. So, yeah.
When did you move to Nashville?
I moved to Nashville in August of 2006. About to be 15 years.
Nice.
So I tell people when they ask, because someone always asks if I'm from here, And it's like, oh, I'm a local, not a native. That's what my phrase
So
is.
you've earned your badge.
I feel like I've earned it. I've definitely put a lot of time. I mean, this is the longest I've been anywhere other than Memphis. So like I feel like I've put my time in.
This is your second home.
I can claim it. Yeah. Well, it's been the last 15 years, so it feels more.
Is the home.
I feel more Nashville than Memphis these days, even though I love claiming Memphis. It's a fun place to be from, but I'm glad I left. I like it here.
Awesome. So you said when you moved here, that's when you started getting into actual DJing and electronics and stuff.
Yeah, I blame Nashville for getting me into it because I just thought I don't know what I thought. I just only special people could do music, and only people who had been doing it like since they were a kid. And I don't know, I was too nervous or too weirded out, like, well, I'm not good enough to actually play anywhere. I just like messing around and I don't have the gear for it or whatever. When I moved here, I knew a guy, Spoken Nerd, and he's a rapper here in town, and he almost immediately upon me moving here, he's like, okay, yeah, well, I need a DJ, so you gotta play this show or that show. And I was like, I don't know anything. You should. It's like, oh, it'll be great. You'll be fine. Prior to that, I had only ever done the homecoming, prom, stuff like that. And they, the DJ company would give me gear that I would use for that, and then I'd have to go back. And so I had to start building up gear. But anyway, all that to say, I was DJing for Spoken Nerd when I got here. I was really bad. And I had a little project that has kind of morphed into what I do now. I was making beats and putting them up on MySpace, and that was kind of like my whole thing. But I had a project, so one time he let me open with that, like my official quiet entertainer thing. And it was fun, but I was still like, what am I doing? But because of Nashville, just having so many places to play and so many people to play with and do shows with or whatever, I just got into that show culture really quickly. And then it's just like, man, this is a lot of fun. And what am I gonna do for the next show? I need to work on my set. I need to get better at everything and figure out what I'm gonna do. So at no point in Millington or Memphis did I get that type of opportunity or bug or whatever.
Feeling,
so,
yeah. Dude, I feel it. Yeah, I remember moving to Nashville and the city just comes up, consumes you.
Yeah.
And even people you walk into and meet, 1 out of 4 people here is probably a musician, artistic artist. So you meet and learn everybody's story. And
yeah,
everyone's very driven, which is awesome. It feels like there's a buzz here, just of energy of people, creating.
Yeah, I feel like a lot of people move here to do something creative or do something musically. So those people are very hopeful when they move here, or they just really actually having the drive to leave your hometown to go do, XYZ or whatever it takes a really special type of person. I feel like the majority of people don't leave their hometown, or they don't leave their area that they came from. So I get really excited just hearing about someone that left everything behind to go pursue this thing that you don't know if it's going to work out or not. That's really, that inspires me to want to keep at it, because it's hard to do. I just root for anyone who takes a risk like that. And if you didn't take a risk like that, people who've been here a while, I root for those people too, because they're still doing it. Maybe no matter what has happened, if they've stuck with it, that's also inspiring to me, because I feel like both camps, I'm still going. I don't know why, will it ever pay off, so to speak, whatever that means. I just love to do it. It's been a lot of fun. I've found a lot of great friendships through it and had a lot of good experiences. It's been very cool.
Sounds like you've gotten a great payoff.
I guess so. Yeah, I guess you're right.
Relationships, I mean, that's a wealth in itself.
It is, definitely.
Friendships, relationships, networking.
If only I could pay rent with these friendships.
Yeah.
That's the missing link. So that's what I'm looking at next. We'll see.
Builds the friendship socially, but not necessarily financially.
Yes. Yeah. Financially, who knows? It's one day.
Yeah.
It all works itself out at some point.
Right. What was some, like, the first gear you got? Like, what were some of the first turntables?
Yes, so I did go to college in Knoxville, Tennessee.
I should have asked you.
And when I was there, so that was when, so I had to quit the DJ company in Memphis, and I went to Knoxville. And so there, I went to a Bible college, and they did not, they didn't like, we had a curfew if you lived on campus. And so that kind of wiped out all of my DJ stuff. And I didn't know, they didn't service like East Tennessee at that DJ. Disc jockeys, etc. Shout out to them if they're still out there. They didn't cover or book parties in East Tennessee. And because I have a curfew, I wasn't getting to do that anyway. So I thought, well, I guess that's the end of DJing, but I was still so fascinated. I realized, well, there was a documentary that came out towards the end, like 2002 maybe, called Scratch. And in that documentary, so all my favorite DJs at the time, and actually still to this day, my favorite DJ is DJ Shadow.
Oh my God, dude, yes.
Okay, yeah, so he's my favorite DJ, but I didn't know anything about him really. I didn't know like how to look him up. This was kind of still towards the beginning of the internet. I didn't know, there wasn't a whole lot of information out there. And all my favorite DJs I had heard of, but I didn't really, who has their music. Like some people were on Napster and LimeWire longer than others. So it's just like, can I find the person that has the music, who's gonna like share or do whatever? Is like, even if you wanted to buy music, it's like, this store doesn't have it. They got a special order from this store. Can you find, before like, and then it's like, did this DJ even work on it? And because of DJs playing, a lot of their stuff is bootleg, it's mixed, it's not really like their produced music or whatever. And Shadow had an advantage because he produced his own music. Anyway, so this documentary, Scratch, came out. I had heard about it. And I went to this movie theater. And it was like this long history of all these DJs and how DJing became a thing. And I just noticed turntables and mixer and all the craziness that they were doing. And then I saw Shadows in this documentary. And I thought, wait, there he is. It's him. And he's talking about, and it shows like the place where he was in, where like he did his album cover, like it shows him in that spot. And I was like, like real people are actually doing this. Like I gotta figure this out. And like I gotta DJ, I gotta get back into DJing. Like, cause I guess I had taken like 2 or 3 years off of like any type of DJing for real. Cause in college I was back to doing radio stuff. I was like, I've gotta figure this out. I found a kid in college who had bought 2 turntables, like a DJ in a box kit that you can buy for $100 or $50 at Guitar Center or wherever. He bought this turntable mixer set, Newmark's like plastic turntables and a little janky mixer. And I bought it from him because he had it, but he wasn't using it. And I was like, why are you not using it? This is the coolest thing ever. This is the coolest thing on campus. Is these things right here? Like, what are you doing? Like, play something. Can you play anything? He's like, no, I don't know. I don't really have time to mess with it. I just kind of, every time I want to play something, I just feel like I want to skate instead. So he was a skater. Okay, well, how much you want for it, And so I bought that. That was my first DJ gear. But then I was like, okay, now I've got this. I need records to play, or I need something like actual vinyl. I learned a lot about all of that. And now looking back, I'm very thankful for that, but no one should ever start there. But you have to start somewhere. But that was my first gear.
Nice.
Much later, because that just got me going. It didn't help me like do quiet entertainer stuff. So in Illinois, what happened? I wanted to take keyboard lessons. And so I found a little thrift store keyboard that got me started with that. And I used to go to the church, and the organist at this church would give me keyboard lessons on Tuesdays. And so that got me kind of going, but it was keyboard. I saw you got sheet music in there. So she was trying to teach me keys and sheet music at the same time. And I just couldn't really, it was hard to learn for me. It was hard to learn. So I didn't really learn it. Didn't really stick with it, but I had this keyboard. And so then I remember saving up to buy a Chaos Pad at that time. And I don't know where I heard about this. I just saw like someone demoing it at the store, and I just thought, I don't know anyone in the world with this. Like, if I just hook this up to my keyboard, I can do some really crazy stuff with it. So I remember like just making dumb sounds with the keys and the Chaos Pad and stuff. And I was like, what if I put this into the turntable and start scratching and like, messing up with the scratches and stuff. So that's kind of how that started. When I moved, so at some point I needed money, so I had to sell the Chaos Pad. I think about that a lot. It was the right decision. I needed like rent or something, but I never got another one. And the next time I got a gear, the only gear from back then that I still use is the SP404 sampler that I bought as a kind of a replacement for the Chaos Pad that I had to sell, at a certain time. So it took me a while. I was like, well, this does some effects too. I can run my stuff through it. But then it had more storage, so I could put beats into it as well. And so that's really the beginnings of a lot of the music, were those pieces of gear.
Wow, yeah. Chaos Pad. I'll never forget. I remember seeing Glitch Mob using the Chaos Pad. There was like 3 guys with Chaos Pads. I was like, what in the heck? Like, what is that?
When did you see Glitch Mob?
Well, it was like on TV in like 2010, 10, 9.
Yeah.
Probably 2008, 2009. Yeah.
That's another crazy group of guys that just, now that I've been doing this more, I can understand it, but they were like mythical creatures. Like, what are y'all doing? Like, how did you get, like, so I'm in my room just messing around. You see someone like Glitch Mob, or 10 years ago, 13 years ago, someone like Pretty Lights.
Oh yeah.
And just like, how do you get from here to that? Like, what in the world? And I just remember just being just blown away. Like, what on earth? Like, are we doing the same thing? Like, did they start? Like, I'm trying to picture them with like a freaking, DJ in a box setup, or a 404, or like doing the same stuff. And I guess they did, or they did something to get started somewhere.
Yeah. You said DJ Shadow immediately. I was like, man.
Yeah, that was not the reaction I expected. What's your history with that?
When 8th or 9th grade, shout out to ringback tones. But DJ Shadow was my ringback tone for like 6 months to a year or something like that. So when you called me, it was like, are you ready for the boom?
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and I was like,
that is an obscure song to have as your ringback tone.
Yeah, it was.
Are you ready for the?
Yeah.
Tell them who the.
And it's hilarious because now my my ringback tone. You heard it earlier. It's like da 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 when you call me.
Yeah.
It's because like my subscription, faded out or whatever, and then that's the default.
Wow. Well. Look at that.
I've had that since like high school.
DJ Shadow. And that was that was an obscure one. That's not even on like that like goes back before introducing that beat.
It was interesting because it was on like I had a Verizon, flip phone or whatever, and you go on the little Verizon music store and you can like download and buy. I think it was like $2 or $3 to buy a ringback tone.
Wow. Well, there you have it.
Yeah.
He reaches everywhere.
Yeah.
And it's so funny, when I was that age, I definitely went from the time I discovered who he was to the time I finally saw him live. It was so hard to find people. That was like a 10-year gap from like, it took me 10 years to finally see him. It was hard to find people who knew who he was, or, you know, find people who had heard of him or heard a song of his or whatever. It was just like a tightly kept secret. Not just him, but just that whole genre of hip hop, of like a certain type of hip hop that wasn't like the mainstream or gangster rap or whatever. So I was desperate to just get more of that music and to find more people that were into it. It was that was part of why I'm so neurotic now. It's just like, where's the music? Who's got it? Where can I go? Do I need to go to this show? Who's playing this or whatever? And actually, so back to Memphis, I have to say this. It's the first time I saw DJing done at a level like performance style DJing. I saw a DJ battle in Memphis. Wow. So I graduated from college and I couldn't get a job, so I had to go back home living with my parents. When I lived at home, I worked at FedEx and I was volunteering at these radio stations doing promo work, not DJing. So I volunteered at Rock 103, Kiss FM and Hot 107. And I also worked at a CD store. And so this person at a CD store, Lainey, we didn't get along because we worked together and she was always kind of like really intense to work with. And it's just like, geez, I just get off my case, you know, just one of those people. But she had said something, she was going to a DJ battle, like one of her friends. And I was just like, I've never heard you say anything about DJing before in this entire time. And now you're going to a DJ battle. I was like, well, first of all, where is it? What is it? You know, I went to the High Tone Cafe in Memphis, which is, now I know it's this, you know, legendary club that you play in Memphis. But I went there and I saw DJ Little Boy Blue versus Capital A. These were the two DJs. They were going to battle each other. And I just thought, this is really happening right in front of my face. And they did it. They did like all the stuff that I had, you know, heard about. And, you know, I had never just seen a clip. Stuff I saw in the documentary. Mm-hmm. That, you know, it was hard to find videos of like the VHS tapes. This stuff was hard to come by and hard to find. So shout out to those DJs. I don't know what they're doing now. But that's the first DJ battle I ever saw. And it was like, wow, they're doing it. Like, it was like, they must have practiced for years to get to this point. And I just realized, you know, that's when all my insecurity began. What was once hopeful was all now like insecure. Wow, I'm not good enough. I'm not good enough to be in this scene. And that's what probably eventually hurt me, like until I came to Nashville and met Spoken Nerd, who forced me to play a show with him. So I was in a group. I have to say this. I was in a group called Ill Gravy, and he had the same effect. Dub T and I were in this group. We both needed a project for sound design, and we was like, we both love rap. We should make a rap album. And so he really did all the music, and I just did like scratching with that kit that I told you about. I did a little scratching, but mostly I recorded it and engineered it and put my name on it. That's the first release I ever did, was in college. But we only played a few shows. It was really his show, and I was kind of like backing him up, but I didn't have to DJ. I just would hit play on a laptop and scratch over it. I didn't really have to do too much. Anyway, that was a long rant.
No worries.
After
that was good. What you said the turntables you had, could they hold records? Like, because I remember those records or the turntables that came out where it was like put a CD in there and scratch.
Yeah, so they were for records.
Oh, okay.
The CDJ turntables. At that time, the technology wasn't really great to where you could scratch, but you could, if you bought like the highest end Pioneer CDJ or whatever, you could scratch with it. But no, I bought, these were actual turntables, So this is boring to some people, really exciting to other people. So belt drive turntables are like your main turntables where there's like a little belt underneath it that's pulling the platter to make the record spin. That's what these were. Most record players have that where it's not like motorized. And then there's, what did I say? Belt drive, and then I guess hard drive. I don't know what it's called, but turntables that have a motor underneath where the platter is firm, you can actually put pressure on it with your hand and it won't like change the speed of the platter. So I was trying to scratch with these belt drive turntables, and the platter, any type of weight you put on it, it would like go diagonal, which would mess up the needle would lose traction off the record, like once the platter would go up, so you couldn't stay on the same spot, so you couldn't really scratch. And I learned that from all this time of trying to scratch. It was like, oh, but the needle won't stay on because this platter won't stay in shape, and you have to learn to get your hands right. Yeah, I all part of the learning curve of trying to learn how to do super cool stuff with technology that was not designed to do any of that. Just kind of a technique and art form. And now with every new advance in DJ technology, they come up with another thing that kind of helps people get into DJing, but without that experience of like, man, this is really, you can't do much with you trying to do that. I've learned a lot through that pain of trying to practice, but it's come a long way now. Definitely, you don't even need CDs now. I guess right. CDs are out, and it's just like digital files. Who knows?
What kind of turntables do you have now?
I still use, shout out to Stanton. I use a Stanton Straight 100 turntable, which was the second. This was the very next turntable I bought after I realized I need a sturdier turntable. And at this time, it was so expensive, but it was the next, so everyone has Technics or whatever.
Yeah, Technics.
I couldn't afford Technics, so I got Stanton, which was like a grade downward, I guess, according to some people. Now I understand that it's all kind of the same, but that's what I use. I had to sell one for money at some point, so right now I only have one, but I have it still, and it's like beat to death and got all kinds of wear on it, but still works.
Still works.
Yeah.
That's awesome. So you, in like the early time, like period, you'd say like R&B was what inspired you to like, I want to play music, or I want to be involved with music? Like,
I'd say it wasn't really R&B as much as just hearing a lot of music. It wasn't. Okay. I name R&B because it's what my sister listened to, and it's what K97 would play in addition to like hip hop and so on. For me, it was just like, oh, well, this is what Black people listen to, and I'm just gonna listen to that. I had a little phase where I listened to, some rock. I was familiar with pop music and rock music because of different radio stations in Memphis, Kiss FM and FM 100 and all that. But and then I worked at Rock 103 for a year, just trying to get an on-air shift or something, but it never worked out. I guess I don't fit the persona of a rock DJ, of a classic rock DJ. But no, yeah, R&B, and I think my favorite guy, so PM Dawn, it felt like he was doing both rap and R&B at the same time, and I also liked New Edition, Belle Biv DeVoe, and all that. So those were groups that I liked a lot coming up, but eventually I settled into Pete Rock and CL Smooth. I tell people that's my first hip-hop record that I bought. It was actually a cassette, but that's the first time I was just like, wow, this is really different. These beats are really, really musical, and it wasn't just like, I didn't realize they were all sampled, but It wasn't just like, I'm going to rip off this sample and just write another song over it. This was a really unique, new musical thing, and I didn't have the language at that age to articulate it that way, but that's what I could tell. It's like, man, this is way different than what I was listening to. When I look back on those times, I have more fun with the R&B songs than a lot of the hip hop songs, just because catchier or able to sing them, less censorship. So I kind of came up in a sheltered home to where I wasn't allowed to listen to certain types of rap or whatever. And really, moving to Nashville helped me on that too, just being around so many musical people. Mm-hmm. And when I found the DJ scene, just being able to go out and listen to all the stuff that I had listened to as a kid and kind of catching up, so to speak, or kind of figuring out what I liked, or, oh, I kind of remember this from younger, let me go dig deeper now that I have access to more music.
Wow, yeah.
So that's been a big part of it too. It's why Nashville, again, just really, my time here has allowed me to really immerse in a way that I didn't when I was in Memphis.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I love it that you'll go to a show here in Nashville, and no matter what, the band or the music is probably going to be pretty tight, like, because everyone's competing for that spot to play, even if it's at a restaurant, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's like awesome just to like, I always tell people, if you live in Nashville, even if you're not a musician, just living here will make you a better musician.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah, absolutely. And that's what I'm saying. Like, I didn't do this at all until I moved here, and it just like squeezed it out of you. And it's just like, if whatever friend group you find, if 5 of them are musicians in your entire friend group, it's gonna make you more creative. You're gonna do something. You're gonna get an appreciation for it somehow. Even I meet people who really take pride in telling me how they're in Nashville and not a musician. And I just say, okay, well, what do you do? It's like, oh, just, I just don't do music. And I'm like, okay, it's fine. All right, I got it. But I think if you, especially now with technology, if you love music, but you're not a musician, I root for people. Most people who tell me they're not a musician, but they love music, somewhere in them, they love to sing, or they love to dance, or they love playing, or not playing, but they just love music so much, but they just have it in their mind that they can't. And I root for those people. I was like, you can. I hope you still have time to do something. I meet a lot of people who want to DJ, or they wish they could DJ. And it's easier than ever now to DJ. And I see so many people get gigs just because they put the word DJ on their name, and whether they're good or not. And that's how you get good, is just like doing it. Yeah. So that's literally what they did to me. And it's like, oh, I'm not ready. I'm not a DJ, but we need one. So you're booked. Okay. All right. Now what? So.
Yeah. So what would you say is like one of the main things you've learned living in Nashville? Other than like just being thrown into, I mean, that is a huge thing, but like, I guess if you want to elaborate on that.
One of the main things I've learned?
Yeah, like since you've been here for so long.
Oh, I guess as a musician, or as someone who's been throwing shows, once I decided I wanted to just throw shows a lot, or not throw shows, I wanted to play more. Mm-hmm. I realized that waiting to get booked and just sitting, why is nobody booking me? Why aren't I getting the shows I want? Why aren't, fill in the blank? There is enough opportunity for you to just create your own show, or create your own opportunity. That's been the thing that has helped me advance. I used to think, man, why am I not playing this show or that show? But I had the same opportunity. I can book my own show, or I can put my own show together. And that's the thing that has helped me just stay, not relevant, but just stay in the music scene. It's just like, well, Oh gosh, I haven't had any shows. I know people who just complain about the shows they don't have and the
Don't take the action.
yeah, but that was like, well, you could literally book your own show. Like they have to stay open, so they're gonna want to book something that they can do that night or whatever. And there's so, like I said at the beginning, there's so many places. Like every bar I've ever seen in Nashville almost has a stage or has a PA system or has a place where you can plug in, and it's so easy to get a show. And that's the thing that I wish everyone knew. Especially, so it's weird how it's all segmented that I've seen as far as like in the hip hop community. So there's like the DJ scene in the hip hop community, and then there's the rapper scene, and then there's like the indie like music scene or whatever. And there's so many, and I've learned that in each one of those instances, there's so many places to play, there's so many places to fit in. But I hear this a lot with rappers because like, nobody's booking me, I just need an opportunity, someone needs to put me on or whatever, and someone let me get on and like freestyle or let me do this or that. And I just say, you can book your own show. It might not be at, I wanted to play at the End once, and couldn't, you had to like book far in advance, and there was a production fee and so on. But I saw a band at the End once, and I just thought, what a great place to play. And they had packed. The band was Paper Route. They're no longer a band, but I saw them there at the End. And it was packed. And I just thought, man, what a great place to play. I need to play there. And at the time, I was only doing those shows at Springwater with Spoken Nerd. And I was like, well, I want to, what else can I do? We started booking shows, not at the End, but at Cafe Coco, which is over there by the End, behind Exit End.
Yeah.
And that was what a great move. And because of the stuff we were doing at Cafe Coco, they actually reached out to us to like play at the End, and it was so funny. But we wouldn't have gotten that opportunity unless we had created our own opportunity, I guess, to play at Cafe Coco, just to play somewhere to where, yeah, we can play shows. We're used to it. We're good at it. People will come if you book us. Instead of like forcing your way, nobody's giving me a chance. No one's giving me a look.
Being a moper.
Yeah, I don't have a lot of, I understand it, and
the wet blanket.
I feel it, but I don't have a lot of sympathy for it because I know that you can get a show if you want.
You gotta manufacture your opportunity.
Yeah, I believe that. Everyone has a different situation, but I know that in each situation, as far as getting booked anyway, you can find a way to get booked. Sure. There's a lot of other challenges that artists will have, but that's the one I see a lot of, and people are always asking about. And so I was just like, okay, but you can play a show.
It's just a numbers game.
Yeah, it is.
How many emails have you sent out? None. Well, who's gonna know about you?
Yeah.
I mean, it's like
that is true.
You gotta go knocking, What is I love your two pieces there of advice and kind of insight as far as you gotta, take action if you wanna have a show. What is some advice you'd give someone to move, if they're gonna move here, play music?
Oh, wow. So if you were gonna move to Nashville to play music, I guess it depends on what kind of musician, what kind of music you're trying to do, and what you see your career as. Because some people move here and they want to go to Music Row and be in the studio and record on everyone's record and pitch their songs to some artist or whatever. And that's totally, I don't know anything about that world. And there's also the people who move here, but they still want to be famous and they want to build their fan base or whatever. This isn't a good place to build a fan base.
No.
But what you can do is I don't know, this is biased advice, but I say because it's such a great place to play, and because it's there's so many great musicians. This is the perfect city to get really good at playing shows and build your live show up. But it's also a great place to record with other musicians and build a great record. There's so many people to work with, so many and not just musicians, but engineers, mixers, producers, all the things, vocalists, whatever you need musically is here. And whatever show you want to throw, there's a place here to do it.
There's a crowd for it.
Yes. And what people aren't talking about with Nashville, there's 3 interstates that come through Nashville. You are within a 4 to 8 hour drive from most of the populated cities in the United States. This is a great city, great home base to live. If you want to drive, you want to book shows in other cities and go there and come right back. You're not going to be stuck out in the mountains or in the desert or whatever, trying to drive different parts of the year. So Nashville, a great city for that reason. Doesn't get talked about a lot. But yeah, I think this is if you're moving here, find some other musicians, see a lot of shows, especially if you want to play shows, or if you want to meet musicians. I was going to shows, and that was the other thing. You can go to see something really great, or at least before what happened, before this outbreak, you could go see shows every night of the week, and it was going to be good, 9 times out of 10, 19 times out of 20. It was going to be really great. I went to see every DJ that I could. I feel like, maybe not now, but at the time I know I had seen every DJ. If they were in town playing, I had gone to see them at least once. I went to every place where that DJs were being booked. I started going to hip hop, rapper shows. I knew all the rappers. Started seeing bands I liked, and eventually it was just okay, I've seen everybody, I know who's doing what. And the more people moved here, somebody new popped up, oh, I don't know that name, I gotta see them at some point or whatever. And that kept me involved. I was in the scene. So I got booked. So on the DJ side, I got booked at Nashville only because I wasn't seen as on that level, but I was always there. I was, and I'm also booking my own shows at the same time. It's oh, he does shows, he's a DJ. I see him at Nashville all the time. He must be one of these Nashville DJs. And so people started asking me what time do you go on, And I was oh, I'm not playing, I'm not here. But the association had been made, he's a DJ and he's always at Nashville. So he's one of them. And it kind of was funny. I eventually got to play, and then it was just what time do you go on? I was oh, you just missed it, because I was the opener. But still, when my answer changed, I realized, oh, I did it. I did something. This thing happened where it I kind of made it happen by just being present and always being there. I did ask to play. I mean, I did have to do that still, but I also, in the fans or people's minds, I was already playing because I was already there. So someone's gonna ask you what time or when are you gonna play, and someone, the bar owner, the venue owner's gonna start seeing you and saying, I keep hearing about your band, when are you gonna play here? So that's what happened at the Basement here in Nashville. Okay. They definitely want to see you coming to see shows there before they book you. They said that to my face. So
really,
that's you got to do that, just so people know that it's not gonna. They know who you are. They know that you know what to expect, and that you have friends, that you have people that you went to see. If you're going to see them all the time, they're probably going to come see you. Yeah. And if they see you watching lots of shows and going out, they'll know you're part of the going out crowd. Right. And so more people of the going out crowd will come back to see you. It's all you have to put in the equity of seeing stuff to get people to support you. You have to support to get the support.
Right.
So if you're moving here to do that, you have to do that. But really, just working hard and finding ways to support what you're doing. My biggest challenge has always been like time and money and figuring out how to budget both in order to support your music. But if you have a way to do that, definitely support the scene and see a bunch of shows when they come back. But definitely that's been the biggest thing that's helped me.
What is your favorite venue that you played at here in Nashville?
My favorite venue is probably the best show I ever played here. Well, just a full circle. This isn't the venue I'm gonna name, but I did open for DJ Shadow.
Oh my God!
In 2017 when he came here, and just a full circle, just experience I didn't think would ever happen in my life. But he played at Marathon Music Works, and I got to open for him there. That was awesome. But the best show I ever played here was at the Basement East. I think I got to open for my other favorite band. They're called Mute Math.
Mute Math, yeah.
And they played at the Basement East in 2015. I got to open for them, and that was awesome. I love that venue. I love seeing bands at that venue. And when they got to play, I was like, what a perfect place for them to play. But I got to open. It was awesome. Love it. That venue is really just well ventilated, it's well lit. Everything's good about it. I still want to play. My dream place that I have played, but I never played a good show there yet, is Accident. That's the venue. Yeah. And I opened for someone there. I've never booked my own show there. It just never happened right over there. So I still want to do a really good show there. Places I've played as a DJ and as a band, I've played at the East Room, and I've done at Cobra.
Right.
I've played all those places. I even played the End. I still want, Basement East was my favorite show that I've done. And Accident is the show I want to do a really good show at. I also want to play, I've played at Mercy Lounge and High Watt. There's something always happens to where those shows don't go the way I hoped they would or would like to. But I would like to cross Accident off my list before that's more important than crossing those off my list and having a good show there.
That's awesome. That's awesome. You've played a lot of the heavy hitting places.
Yeah, all those places need someone to play. Mm-hmm. And eventually, if you're around, if you're going to see shows all the time and people know who you are because you're there all the time, you will figure out when they need openings or what kind of show. You will have met a bunch of musicians looking for a place to play. A lot of these shows I love booking bands that have never played or looking for shows, or they don't book a lot because they are still stuck in this mindset. I wish somebody would book me. Mm-hmm. When you go out and you see all these bands, because you're going out and doing that for the scene, you see a band that happens to be playing and they're really good and they don't have a show booked next. When are you playing again? I don't know, It's check, okay. And I have a list of bands that don't have a show booked, or bands that wish someone would just book them. So I can go to a venue and say, hey, I got, myself, that's how I built my whole thing. I booked myself as the headliner or the main guy or whatever. Hey, I got this band, this band, this band. They're all really good, and we can do this date. And okay, let's do it. And I did that a lot. That's how I built my whole thing. It was first I would show up and everybody just think, has he played? Did you play already? Oh, okay. And then eventually it was hey, I got all these people. They're looking for a show. This is the date. Let's do it. And it's so easy. You're just plugging. It's like Mad Libs. You just plug in and play the bands and the venues and whatever. It's all scheduling, and the timing of it can be tricky, but That's what I did.
Really good piece of advice.
Yeah.
Talking to people, you don't have a show coming up? Okay, I'll keep you in mind, you know.
It's so, if you have to be willing to do that, like, it is more stress to be the person in charge of a show, because you got to start dealing with, like, the venues and the money and stuff like that. But if you're able to do that, if you're able to, like, have a good business relationship with venues and whatever, you know how to talk to people and not be, like, drunk and high or whatever when you talk to them.
Right.
Then yeah, it's like really easy to just go like, hey, so what are you doing do you have a show Wednesdays on this date? Like, you know, 6 weeks from now, 2 months from now? You know, oh, you don't, because this band I just saw this band. You tell someone you just saw this band and they just blew your mind. They want, well, that band needs to be here, you know, or, oh, I've heard of them, or I don't know, whatever. It's so easy. Instead of like, oh, this band, I don't know. I guess they might be good. It's just a friend of mine. That happens a lot too, and it's just like, it's not as powerful. So if you are already booking yourself in like these nondescript places, like for us it was Cafe Coco, which it's sentimental now. It means something to me now. But if I wasn't booking at Cafe Coco and Christopher Pizza Company on De Montbriand, you know, rest in peace. I don't know what that place is now. But if I wasn't already doing that, I couldn't also then say, hey, I just played, you know, someone could have vouched for me. Hey, have you heard of Quiet Entertainer? I was like, oh, we've seen him at whatever, and he was crazy. He was back flipping off the turntables and scratching in midair. I don't know. I never did that, but I could have. Maybe you did. If you didn't see it,
you might have saw something.
You might have seen something. I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah. Right. All right. Well, I've got to talk about so I saw you at Spewfest. Yeah. So
yeah.
Set. Thought it was great.
Thank you.
And then, after you got off the stage, I just like walked up to you and talked. That's how I met you.
Yes. Okay. I'm sorry. I don't quite remember.
That's okay.
What a hectic.
That was a crazy day.
That was a crazy day. That was my first time playing Spewfest, but I think it was my third or fourth time. Probably my third time actually going to see, because I had seen bands there and done the like back and forth thing. I just thought, what a cool place I wish I could play it sometime. And I actually, every year it would come up, and I just like, oh, I forgot about that. I wish I had asked to play like way before. And this was the first time I like caught it with enough time to like get a set together and get like my people. I've been playing with the live band only since, I guess it's been like over 5 years now. Doing like the DJ version or like the band version. So I had enough time and enough like, and they're like, oh yeah, we've seen you at Cafe Coco is what they said to me. Ironic because of what I just said, but that actually happened when I wrote in to play Spewfest. They said, oh, we know you from Cafe Coco, like back in the day. And so, yeah, what a great time that was. Yeah. Did you have, so what were you asking a question about Spewfest? I'm just reminiscing now.
Yeah, I was just reminiscing. I was just telling you how I met you.
Yeah.
Like that, because we probably both met tons of people that day.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, it was.
I was there like all day.
Yeah, same here.
At
Cobra and then East Room.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a lot of fun. I thought that was like one of the musical highlights of last year before, you know.
Definitely. And again, that was the last live show that I played.
Really?
Was at Spewfest.
Wow.
So,
yeah,
that was a month later was when everything shut down.
Right.
So.
Yeah, that was February 8th.
Yes. So.
Saturday, February 8th.
The last show that I saw, so I went to Dark Matter on March 11th to see a show, and then I left that show to go to another show that was happening at Cobra, and that was like the last live show that I saw. It was March 11th, and so, but I had booked, me and the band had booked a bunch of shows coming up, like starting in April. I was going to play a lot more because that was my first time playing with that group at Spewfest. and we all loved it. And it was like, we got to play more with this lineup. And I was like, I think you're right. I think this is the lineup to move forward with. But that's what happened.
Yeah, I mean, hopefully there'll be more of those in the future. Oh yeah, I want to tell you that I really liked your Panda Bear remix, or when you were scratching over the Doing It Right by
Oh, cool, yeah.
Daft Punk.
Oh, cool.
That was really cool. I love Daft Punk, and I love Panda Bear. I love Animal Collective.
Yeah. Thank you. I'm still figuring out. There's so much. I have so many music blind spots that I'm still figuring out. But yeah, thank you. I'm on Twitch now, and that was a clip from one of my Twitch streams. I'm trying to do more of that. And yeah, I'm just on there playing music and cutting and scratching, trying to
fix it. All right, I've got one question for you. What is one absurd thing that you love to do?
One absurd thing that I love to do. Absurd. So, depending on how absurd you think it is, there's so many things that I love to do that just aren't absurd to me, but maybe they are to some other people.
That can be one.
So I guess the thing that I'm gonna say is, gosh, I don't want to out myself, but well, there's two things that, and this is off the top. We did not plan this, so I'm just trying to think of what is an actual good answer for this. But something I love to do is I eat hot chicken, and I
love hot chicken. I made it the other night.
You made okay, great. So see, this is not even absurd, but I eat it.
It's the first time I ever made it, but.
Oh, well, how did it turn out?
Great.
Okay.
I bought some awesome seasoning, and then I double dipped the batter, and then fried it, and then set it aside some oil, some lard, and some butter, and the spice to glaze the chicken after I fried it. This
is the first time that you made it.
Right.
Before that, where were you going to get it?
Slow burn. I've had it at Hattie B's.
So was it really comparable to like what Slow Burn was doing? Did you get really close, or what were you?
No. I mean, I didn't make it spicy enough.
Oh, okay, fair enough. I would say the only thing absurd about me and hot chicken is I would eat it every day if I could. Can't always afford it, but it's getting up. It's just pretty wild. People they marvel at my love for it. I can speak on it.
Where's your favorite place to eat?
Well, I also have found Slow Burn. I live closer to that place, and they're very nice. They know me by name. I come in, and they even liked Quiet Entertainer on Facebook. So it was very nice of them. But I still like Prince's. It's just really far away now.
Okay.
So I'm never out there anymore. I used to live like a block from Prince's, the old location. So I've had a lot of that. Those are the only two places I'm going to name. I will shout out Firecracker Hot Chicken in Mount Juliet.
Okay.
Because when I was living closer to that area, I lived really close to Slow Burn, but on days that Slow Burn was closed, you could go to Helen's or you could go to Firecracker in Mount Juliet. And the Helen, I'm not gonna diss Helen's. It tastes good. I don't like the people that happen to work at that location that I'm speaking of, but Firecracker, pretty nice, very nice people out there, and it tastes the same. Yeah, I eat it an absurd amount. It's kind of weird to everyone but me, but I just like what I like. Oh, I also am a notorious cider drinker.
Oh, okay.
I drink a lot of cider at the bar. I never get beer or anything like that.
Were you the Angry Orchard?
Well, I mean, most bars do not have another cider other than Angry Orchard, but I like finding out which bars have what. I'm definitely into. I'll order that first before. I've never figured out beer.
Have you ever drank mead?
Mead? No, I don't think so.
There's a honey meadery here in East Nashville, and it's alcohol made from honey, and I don't know what else. It's old school alcohol, but it tastes. I mean, it's good.
Wow.
You should try it if you like ciders.
I will keep that in mind. The honey meadery. So
honey meadery. It's
you have to go there to get it.
I think it's on Fatherland.
Okay.
Or it's here in East Nashville. It's like 3 minutes away from here, 4 minutes away from here.
Okay. I'll check that out. I've not heard. No one's ever recommended that to me. So.
Yeah, if you like ciders, I would recommend that.
I do like the ciders.
Where's your favorite cider?
You know what? It goes back and forth. Right now, I enjoy I think it's just called the Nashville cider, and it's kind of like a tall watermelon type of. It's like a watermelon flavor cider.
Whoa.
It's really tasty. It's unique because most every other cider is kind of apple cider based. I do like a lot of the Diskin stuff, and my favorite, people used to ask me, and I'd always say Ace pineapple, but as I've gotten to have different types of ciders, I like stuff that's just not apple, it's just not always apple. So that watermelon one, they used to sell it at Cobra. Now, the last time I had it was at like Virgin Hotel up in like the little loft they got there, or the little, I don't know what you call the little top room at the penthouse or whatever they have up there where the DJs play. So I went up there to hear some DJs, and they had that cider. But yeah, there's good ciders all around. That's probably the one I'm gonna name. Ace Pineapple is the backup, one, and then Angry Orchard.
Cider.
Most people have the Angry Orchard. So
Right. Awesome. Well, great having you on here. How can people find you or talk to you or message you, or where is your best place for them to go?
yeah, well, to check me out, if you're checking out music, I'm on. If you search Quiet Entertainer at any music place, I will pop up. I'm on Spotify as well. I'm on Instagram at Quiet Entertainer, TikTok Quiet Entertainer. I stream on Twitch, twitch.tv/Quiet Entertainer to hear like the DJ sets, like the one you heard. Quiet Entertainer Bandcamp if you want to buy something. I also have store.quietentertainer.com if you want a physical product, including the band that you heard at SpeedFest. We did a live from home. You can buy the DVD and the CD there at my online store, but it's all just Quiet Entertainer. Instagram, Twitter, Quiet Entertainer, it's all there.
Okay, great. Well, Greg, awesome. Thanks for coming here and being on the podcast.
Jordan, thank you for having me. This was a lot of fun. Good conversation.
Yeah, I had fun too.